What will never be the same again once the pandemic is over. Office life. My company has already announced that once we are allowed to go back, we'd only be going once or twice a week. It seems many realized how feasible working from home is. They told us we aren't going back until July. This is true. And even then we will be working from home 4 out of 5 days a week. And then there's me who has not missed a day of going into work through this whole pandemic, despite the fact that we had 11 cases pop up in the span of 3 days last week. We are still all required to come in. I'm quarantining with what might be covered since last Friday, the first time I haven't gone in 11 months, and the leadership still wants me to work. I hate my boss. Working in an office, particularly in Japan. I live in Japan. Going to the office and spending all day here is a deep cultural tradition. Asking your manager at a traditional Japanese company to work from home regularly is on par with asking them, hey, I just realized I'm Dragonkin. Can you please work with the cafeteria to put live cats on the menu? You would get the same reaction. Even in cases of personal illness or family emergency. So many companies here, even in the early COVID days, flat out publicly said, no, we will never be doing that work from home thing. Sorry, that's laughably naive. Then, the country issued a declaration of national urgency, not an actual emergency, as that would entitle the gov to be actually accountable to the livelihoods of the people. Just a very strong arm public stance, and shaming businesses into following suit. Literally those same companies issuing the statements above were scrambling the next week to get their staff safely working from home, online, using remote meeting tools, etc. So, that was a big game changer. Still, everyone was thinking, once the urgency order is lifted, we'll all be going back to work as normal. Well, the urgency order lasted a few months, and those traditional Japanese businesses saw what happened to their bottom lines when they no longer had to pay for electricity, heating/AC, cleaning, office equipment and maintenance, subsidized travel expenses to slash from work, soft items like coffee and snacks, etc. And so many of them now are singing the praises of a sensible work from home policy and planning for even long-term work from home options. Now the society is changing very rapidly to accommodate working from home. More people recently are less looking at buying their first house/apartment in crowded Tokyo outskirts/close suburbs and looking more to buying 1-2 hours away in the boonies where land is actually affordable and living is better. It's watching a sociological essay/study unfold, live, in slow motion. It would be great for health outcomes if everyone did space out a bit. Everyone might end up better off. That being said, there is also an emotional benefit to having your workplace separate from your home. Kind of similar to the whole, don't put a TV in your bedroom or you'll start subconsciously thinking of it as a place to watch TV and have a harder time falling asleep. I will not take hugs for granted. Yep, my mom passed away unexpectedly in October. Because of my asthma, my mom took extra precautions around me, and hugs were completely off the table. The last 2 times I saw her, I tried to hug her goodbye when I was leaving, and she said no. Of course I respected that, and we did an air hug. When I found out she died, the first thing that went through my head was the fact that I had not hugged her since January, and I never will again. There's millions of others in my shoes, and it's heartbreaking. I'm so sorry. As a current college student, I'm in favor of keeping recorded lectures. It's way more helpful than just having notes or slides. As a college professor, I both agree and disagree with you. I hope for both. The recorded Zoom sessions are excellent and a great resource, so I don't have to reteach to those who skipped class. However, networking is one of the most important things about college and it's difficult now. I don't really know any of my students this year, so it's hard to write letters of rec or refer to jobs. The best thing you can do is if you attend a live Zoom session, lean in, show interest, nod along, laugh at the jokes/blunders, share. I find myself teaching to those students and think of them by name. It makes a huge difference. Good luck. College is worth it, so long as you have a goal. Seek out internships, my friend. I think comment op didn't necessarily mean always having the lectures over Zoom, but having them recorded? I could be wrong. My faith in humanity. I still retain hope, but it's really small after seeing our US response to everything. We all had one goal: stop the spread of the virus. Just stay at home for a month, put on some masks, only leave for essentials and essential work, wash your hands, social distance, and don't gather. It was our generation's big moment and we couldn't even band together for that. I saw this happen, and when everyone was like, we need to keep working for our economy, I was like, well, this sounds like a crappy system. If we have to put our selfish goals for imaginary tokens ahead of our own lives for a problem that actually has a fixable solution, how about we don't buy into a system that encourages us to die or adjusted momentarily so we can survive and fix this easy to fix problem? And people were like, no, I haven't been this disappointed in humanity since I worked retail. Time spent with my kids. Pre-pandemic I would leave the house 5 days a week at 6:15 am to commute to the office, usually before anyone else in my house is awake. And I'd get home most evenings just in time to put them to bed. I'll never go back to that. The past 8 months I've actually seen my boys grow up in front of my eyes and I get lots of quality time with them every day, even with work from home. I know now what I was missing. Yup, right there with you, man. Only positive to come from this whole mess. Made me take a step back and rethink my life. You'll never look back in years to come and think I shoulder spent more time at my desk. I'd feel fantastic if remote work remained permanent. I can get rid of my second car to save money. Lunch at home. Meetings are shorter and less annoying than in person. People have actually been sending work over email instead of interrupting me with their random bullcrap. And it's pretty awesome not having to deal with traffic or deal with people in general. I don't understand people who are dying to go back to the office. Seriously? For me it's the extra sleep time. I get up exactly at 7 now and I'm online within a minute by rolling over and logging in. Also the instant offline thing. Once quitting time happens I just do the crap I wanna do. It's like gaining an extra hour each way, it feels like. Just shower over lunch. I feel exactly the same. I think I'm going to ask my boss if I can continue WFH indefinitely because my work-life balance and mental health are so much better somehow in 2020, which says a lot. I have the impression that people have shown their worst part and this will have consequences for a long time. Oh buddy, I wish I could share your optimism that this is the worst of humanity. My roommate and I discussed how long between the food supply chain failing and absolute anarchy and cannibalism. No, not everyone will become violent initially, but for the 10-15% that do, this will cause a ripple effect, causing almost everyone to be paranoid and more prone to violence themselves. This would spiral out of control and be potentially irreparable. If you really think about it, we could be talking only a number of days between the grocery stores being empty and absolute madness. Maybe less. I don't know the chances of that actually happening, but this pandemic is a good reminder that nothing is guaranteed. Having been the funeral organist for numerous pandemic-caused deaths, I can bear first-hand witness to the sad fact that the families and friends of the departed brought to their death by COVID-19 will never be the same. So many people didn't get to say goodbye in a meaningful way. My partner's friend died in a hotel room. He was cremated before his family was even informed of his death. Very hard to deal with. My paternal grandfather died right at the end of my Christmas vacation, and I got the extra week to stay for the viewing/visitation/funeral before flying home. My maternal grandfather died in April. I deal with trauma in both my job and my volunteer life regularly, but the personal difference in processing those two losses has been staggering to me. Logically it shouldn't matter, but it does. I haven't been hugged since February and I need one. Cruise ships. Dubious that industry will come out the other side without radical changes. They won't be the same, but I have to say that going on a cruise was the most accessible vacation I've ever been on. I have minor mobility limitations that can become pretty severe, pretty fast, in the right circumstances. I generally avoid those conditions, but Berlin's museums put me to the test and I skipped entire buildings and sections of buildings in Prague because there were just too many stairs, and I knew I'd not be able to get out of them safely. I actually injured myself on my first cruise, missing a doorway step down. and ended up safely back on the ship via tender, in a wheelchair, no less. I didn't miss a single thing, except one island, that I probably would have skipped anyway, and it was our third stop of 10, when I injured myself. Cruising is accessible in ways that no other vacation style is. It's going to have to change radically, and it does need to deal with the climate change problems it's contributing to, but it makes things accessible that otherwise aren't. Has to be a lot simpler and easier to manage luggage for a cruise, if you're limited in mobility. Movies, unfortunately. Cinema specifically. I'm sure a lot of production companies will take enormous losses or possibly file bankruptcy as no one is paying to go see movies anymore. The other issue being that no one can really make movies at the moment either. Travel bans all over, logistic issues, actors not able to be within close proximity to one another, and then all the post-production work that, for the most part, can't be done from home. Little to no support for creative arts jobs from governments around the globe. Artists encouraged to retrain in other sectors. It's devastating. I work in the film and TV industry, mostly TV, in Los Angeles. We shut down for 5 months, but are crazy busy now. All studios are packed. Union rosters are employed. We've changed how we work a lot. There are a lot of safety protocols. In fact, a whole new department has been made because of it. Covered safety. There is a lot more set building and less location work for obvious reasons. I think that film and TV will just evolve, as it has been anyway. Not so many summer blockbusters and holiday theater seat fillers, more long-form mini-series etc. that are more suited for home TV. It sucks to say too, because I love the theater experience. Either way, just came here to say content is being made in one way or another and the people who work here are fully employed. Not sure what's actually happening with the studios, but I'll take the paychecks while I can. Absolutely agree. Union work here in LA is picking up again fast. Content will still get made, but I bet we are going to see more virtual sets, like The Mandalorian, and a lot less location shooting. I'm on a scripted TV show, and we are working a normal production / post-production schedule with all the COVID safety protocols. Video games. They feel like they did when I was a teenager again. Usually I feel guilty that I'm not doing something more productive, but right now I could care less about spending a whole weekend doing almost nothing but playing video games. Barely touched my PS4 for gaming before all this happened, and now it's a solid pastime for me again. Bought more games for my Switch too. Feels immature and unproductive at times, but honestly frick it. It is a pastime and I have no idea why I ever gave it up. Definitely a form of task completion. Removes my mind from so much bullcrap going on our end. Physical intimacy while dating. Bear with me, because it's been about 9 years since I dated. But based on what I've heard from others who are still dating, and were dating pre-pandemic, this is a wonderful evolution. Previously it was a bit of a game of chicken with non-verbal communication mostly doing the heavy lifting. Now it's a conscious discussion and a deliberate decision with enthusiastic consent being front and center. A kiss isn't just a kiss, and physical contact of any sort, including coming within 6 feet maskless, is expected to carry some level of consent to it. Whether you live in a place that expects masking culturally at this point or not, you can tell really fast if someone recognizes active and ongoing consent before any contact has happened, because social distancing / masking is generally an expectation among polite people who care about each other, and it's the law in many places. It shows respect for a person and their values and lets a decision be made much earlier, based on how much one feels their values are respected. Pressure to engage physically with someone you're not comfortable with is no longer a matter of which items of clothing remain on or fall to the floor, but instead a matter of whether you felt listened to when you told them that you didn't feel comfortable kissing them if they hadn't been in an isolated bubble for 2 weeks prior to entering your bubble for that kiss. And I think that's a fantastic movement. I mean, I've really been missing physical intimacy. I almost wish I could snuggle with someone right now, but hey, pandemic, not so fantastic.